particular, what I want to talk to you about today is one approach that I have found really interesting and that is now beginning to underpin most of what I do. Because I've always been fascinated by the sort of getting to the essence of things, finding the idea that sort of distills the truth and that will give you the insight that enables you to sort of unpick all the rest. And obviously I want to do the best for my clients as well, not just help them to make a specific change that improves an outcome in a particular area of their life, but which enables them to uncover the abilities and the resilience that they already have, so that they are able to go on, as it were, be their own coach in the rest of their lives. And I want to do that in a way that's elegant and efficient and makes a lasting difference. Like many people here, I started off in NLP, learning about how making changes happens when you actually look at the structure of how your mind works, and making changes in the structure rather than in the content, and that gives us a load of tools and techniques that enable you to get rid of limiting beliefs and manage your emotions and create a successful and fulfilling life. And it was also from NLP that I picked up the crucial importance of rapport. And lots of ways of doing that. But what I really learned most about rapport was from Nancy Kline's Time to Think, which I think many people are familiar with. And what Nancy talks about is deep listening. And that's, of course, the most powerful way, I think, of creating real rapport with people so they come to trust you and believe in what you're saying. And that deep, respectful listening, giving people the time and the space and, asking the odd incisive question along the way. Doing that enables people to discover for themselves that part, at least, of where their problem might be coming from is how they're thinking about it. And then they themselves begin to come up with their own solutions. Stay still and fascinated is what she suggests. When I first came across the 3 principles, or innate health, as it's sometimes called, this new approach, at first I thought it sounded a bit like a jumble of sort of simplified NLP and a bunch of other ideas, but then I realised that I was falling into the trap of listening to what I was hearing to see how much I agreed with what was being said, sort of fitted in with what I thought I already knew or believed. And then the person I was listening to, Jamie Smart, who first introduced me to this, started talking about listening for a feeling, or listening with nothing on your mind. And that's where the insights come, when you listen as if you're listening to music or to poetry. So the 3 principles, the 3 elements are, first of all, that there is a universal mind. Some people might call it the source. Other people can just think of it as the life force. There is life, we are alive, there is a life force out there. And that is where, if you like, our insights come from. Our insights seem to come out of the blue, in the shower or driving or whatever. Where do they come from? It's from that universal place. The second element is that we each individually have our own consciousness, our own awareness of what's going on for us, of our feelings. And the third bit is that we think. We have thoughts. And these obviously do interrelate. We have hundreds, probably thousands of thoughts a day, consciously and unconsciously. They float in and out of our minds like dandelion seeds, wafting in and mostly wafting out again, but 1 or 2 of them, or some of them, do take root. And the quality of our feelings suggests the quality of the thoughts that have taken root. So if you're feeling a bit agitated or stressed, then that suggests that the thoughts that have taken root are not helpful ones. If you're feeling calm and together and things are okay, then that suggests that the thoughts that have taken root are fine. So the idea is that our feelings reflect the thoughts that happen to have settled in, be that consciously or unconsciously. And where the universal mind comes in is that that is the source of our innate well-being. And what I mean by that is that in the same way as we have a physical immune system that heals our cuts or fights off the flu without us particularly having to think about it, we also have an innate psychological well-being. Self-regulates. So it's a bit like you can think of our well-being as being like a beach ball that we tend to keep suppressed under the surface by all of the sort of worries and concerns and thinking that we've got on the surface. But actually, when your mind calms, that ball of well-being just bobs up perfectly naturally. Or another way that I've heard it described is like the quiet flute that always plays in the background, but does get buried by the cacophony of the brass band of your worries and concerns and thinking that's going on throughout the time of your life. So what this means is that what we're all sort of striving for is already here. Everything you want in terms of peace of mind and calm and creativity, it's already here. And when you have those stressful feelings, they're like the rumble strips on the edge of the motorway. They're just there to alert you to the fact that you've paid attention to some unhelpful feelings. Whereas when you're driving along the open road, of calmness and clarity, then you know that your thoughts at that time are pretty trustworthy. I think we've probably all fallen into the trap of what's called the "I'll be happy when" trap. In other words, you know, when I'm earning enough money, when I've got the perfect mate, when I've achieved the next goal, then I'll be happy, have the joy, etc. Whereas in fact, of course, it's all already here. Now, it's fabulous to have some targets, and you know, if it's fun for you to, you know, go after those and play around and get them, that's fantastic. Enjoy it. But your well-being does not depend on achieving anything. Now this is a bit of a challenge for somebody like me with a big NLP background. There are no real tools and techniques for this. The insights just arrive when your mind is clear. And thinking about it doesn't help particularly. You know, that's like running around the room to try and get a butterfly to settle on your shoulder. You just wait for the insights to come. Working with clients with this can be quite challenging because, of course, if your problems are only there because of the way that you're thinking or the way that you're treating your thoughts as real, then a client comes and if you delve too much with them into their problem, well, that's a bit like feeding an imaginary rabbit. But to, of course, your client, it's all very real, and to try and explain this stuff up front can sound to them a little naive or even offensive at worst. So again, it's back to really good rapport, deep listening, listening for the feelings, which are even more important than the content. I occasionally might, you know, butt in with the occasional sort of clean question that moves their thinking away from their problem and into, so what would you like to have happen instead? I do sometimes still use some NLP, some reframing. The three principles purists will disagree with this, but I think it's a journey. And for people to move gently from where they are to recognising that there are ways of thinking differently and getting a different outcome. Thoughts come and go. any stressful thoughts or any anxiety, it's just like a warning light, like the warning light in your car, just to tell you that, you know, there are some thoughts there that are not helpful. You can navigate the ups and downs very gracefully because the peace and the wisdom and that sense of oneness with the whole is already here, right now.